Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. Stop what you're doing. Subscribe to our podcast right now wherever you're listening to that. Don't ever miss an episode. It's game week 2, and we got the Bruins coming in from UCLA. And on this podcast, we have Mike Regalado from What's Bruin podcast. You can find them on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast on. And you need to go find them because we're going to be on their podcast today too. But we're finding out all things the fans are looking forward to on the Bruin side. Sooner football fans is not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma, but we do have eligibility left. Boomer. Hey, Sooner football fans. You got Terry, Rob, and Caleb. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
So you decided to bless
us with his presence today,
with
didn't
your
he?
presence, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's been asking about you.
Like, who's everybody?
Well, everybody. Our listeners is like, was Caleb ever going
Both
to come
of them.
back on?
Yeah,
Both
yeah.
of them.
Yeah, both of them.
One of them, Sooner Lisa, she was upset. She thinks you're like Sasquatch. You know.
They don't think you exist.
They don't think you
You're a
exist.
figment of our imagination.
To make it more entertaining when I show up.
So, Caleb, we did the podcast yesterday, and of course you weren't on it, but give us your take on the beatdown of the Owls.
Well, as my friend said, I think we got 3 Heisman front runners right now in Hollywood, Anderson, and Kyle Murray. But honestly, it's just a really good performance all the way around. Defense, special teams, offense. It's very impressive. It's one of the best looking teams in the country as of week 1. It was pretty much a flawless game. So it was just really fun to watch.
Did anything shock you?
Punt block. That was definitely the most shocking thing. I was actually about to get up and get a beer, and then I also saw a guy block it, and we scored again. And I got a happy beer after that.
A happy beer.
And so yeah, that was definitely the most shocking thing.
Yeah. Well, let's get into a little bit of Sooner talk before we get into our friends from the Bruins podcast. First off, Curtis Bolton was named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. Holy cow, we got a defensive player named Player of the Week.
I don't know how that happened. I guarantee it's been a while, huh?
He had 6 tackles, 1 for loss, and he recovered the block for a TD.
Huh.
So there you go.
Congratulations.
Was it the receiver that scored that long touchdown run? The one that blocked the
punt? Lee Morris blocked the punt,
He
too.
played with Kyle Murray in high school, too, right? Nowlin?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah. So he blocks the punt, turns around, comes back on the field, and catches a 65-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And looked really good doing it, by the way.
Shed some time. I still think the best part of that play, even though it was a touchdown, the most impressive part was CeeDee Lamb coming down the field, passing him, and putting on the final block.
What'd y'all think about Hollywood Brown's jersey before the game?
What?
He wore the Raiders, I don't say his name, Biletnikoff jersey.
Oh, Biletnikoff.
Yeah.
Really? I did not see that.
I saw something on that today.
Nice.
He wore.
I love that attitude.
Yeah, he wore a Raiders Biletnikoff jersey before the game.
So, hey, what happened to Addison Gums? I'm sorry if I'm changing the gears here. But
He, I didn't find out until actually last night afterwards. You know, showed you how much attention I was.
Right, I found out today.
But apparently he tore his ACL Friday, I guess, in like walkthroughs, non-contact drill. So he is out for the season.
We cannot afford any more defensive injuries. Good grief.
You know, we got the 2 freshmen that are out, Thompson and is it Redmond?
Redmond.
Yeah.
That guy was huge on.
And now Gums is out, and we had a corner that went out early. So
I will say, though, that Ronnie Perkins, that's his name, right? Ronnie
Perkins.
He looks like a grown man out there already.
Yeah, he does.
The guy is huge, and he was manhandling people out there, too. It was very impressive seeing that guy out there.
Yeah, but we're going to run out of backups if people keep getting hurt on the defense. Good grief.
Well, you know, again, I think what I was most happy with, and again, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet. I'm looking at the cup.
The cup.
I'm not drinking that defensive Kool-Aid, but they attacked. They dominated the front line, and
they were in position.
They were in position. And attitude, exactly. I mean,
that means a whole lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, because, you know, almost immediately after the game, it went from not an Oklahoma domination. Yeah, they still called it a domination, but all of a sudden, well, it was FAU. how did you feel about that stuff?
Before the game, people were saying we're on upset alert, and then all of a sudden people were like, well, it's FAU. It's not an impressive team. It's like, well, they won 11 games last year, won 10 straight before that game.
Yeah.
And before the game, everyone's saying we're on upset alert. So. And
then afterwards, it was, well, it's not that Oklahoma was so good. Obviously, FAU wasn't as good as we thought.
Yeah.
No, the fact is that Oklahoma went out and just...
They brought 11 starters back on defense, and we just torched them the whole game.
Yeah.
I mean...
we just had our way with it. We could do anything we want. We could have ran the ball. We could have passed the ball.
We did.
We went into vanilla mode, and we could still do anything we wanted.
Right.
I said, Anderson, 5 carries for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the first 2 carries was 3 yards and -2.
Yeah.
So that shows you what he did for the rest of the game.
So if we could have pumped him the ball 5 more times, would it have been 200 yards rushing? I mean,
something like
that.
Yeah.
We could have did whatever we wanted to do to that team.
Well, and then, I like what Lincoln said at the press conference today. There's so much more of our running game that we haven't used.
Yeah, it was super vanilla. Like the first quarter, I think we went out there and showed some stuff. And after that, I was getting nervous because our defense, we were scoring so fast and going 3 and outs. It's like, well, do you need our defense some rest? Because this is getting real ridiculous because we keep on scoring so fast in one play.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. That zone read, that is a pretty basic play.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Everybody knows we're going to run a zone read.
Right.
I mean, you don't have a quarterback like Kyler and not run a zone read option. So everybody knows that we're going to do it. I bet you we didn't show a tenth of how we're going to run that.
I think he kept it one time. I think maybe he kept it.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Maybe is that when the turf monster got him?
That's we actually. No, that was that play. That was touchdown plays where he did a miss handoff, but it didn't matter, I guess, because he found the receiver over the middle. Yeah, it was just a very impressive game from Kyle Murray all the way around.
But to go back,
everything, you're good. It's just poised everything.
To go back to what Terry said about the defense, though, is I think something that Jason from the Brainiacs brought up was confident.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't run your mouth like that, or most people don't, unless they're pretty confident about what they could back it up.
Yeah.
Kenneth Murray all summer long has been saying we're going to show everyone wrong. I've been watching a clip of the Georgia game. He's been saying all summer we're going to show us. And Buki, the tiny guy's tiny, but he plays like a 7-foot guy out there because he's so confident.
He plays like a big guy.
Did y'all see his Twitter post today? It was I can't remember exactly, but to quote it loosely, it was "We're out to prove," and this is what it said: "We're out to prove this shit weren't no fluke."
Oh, nice.
That was his.
They've all been talking all summer long, and that most impressive play that's been surfaced on Twitter last 24 hours is that Gallimore play where he just trucks that guy.
Oh man, yeah. Terry showed me that on the phone. I need to go home and look that up and watch that on the big screen because that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and that just goes to show you. I mean, that mentality. And like I said, it was really a give me. I think it was a punt, wasn't it? Was that what it was? Or they were punting it?
No, it was like a third down.
Third down.
The quarterback's back there, but as soon as the ball got snapped, he got Gallimore's in his face.
It was like a quick throw, but I mean, Gallimore, it was good call.
It was nasty. That's what we want to see, though. That's what we want to see out of our defense.
Right. Let's just highlight real game. Like Kyler Murray kind of broke the internet with his run. Like I think ESPN and Barstool, they put out that tweet, and each one of them got like 100,000 retweets.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just
I'm gonna Google that on right now.
And just think, if the turf, it's not the turf monster. He runs faster than his body can.
Yeah.
Okay. If Kyler Murray wouldn't have stumbled those 2 times, that's a touchdown. Yeah. What do you think, Caleb?
Oh yeah, it's probably a touchdown at least, and then also that one of his 2 incompletions, the one the Hollywood, he threw a little bit behind him. He does that just a little bit far above him. There was no one in front of Hollywood right there.
But Rob,
touchdown.
Rob made a good point. Even the commentators yesterday we talked about it. Caleb was that's a timing play, and it's just the thing is that the real game timing in that, because Hollywood's so fast is off.
Yeah.
I mean, he was coming across the middle so fast. It was thrown on a dime.
He still could have caught it.
When he catches that ball, that's a touchdown.
I mean, I think probably by week 4, that's probably way more time. But he has no one in front of him, and he's gone right there. But still 9 for 11. I think he had better stats than Ellinger did, and he threw 20 less passes.
Yeah,
like same amount of yards, same amount of touchdowns. It's just like it was just almost a flawless game from OU. Like I mean, even when we did let them score in the fourth quarter, only thing good about that is that the Vegas odds was the over under was 69, so they got that covered when they let them score in the second half, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. But okay, we're going to have the the guys from the Bruins podcast on here in just a moment. But let's get real quick. Caleb, your thoughts on this week's game?
I was most nervous for the FAU game, and it's just this UCLA team. I think in 2 years, this team will be really good. Right now, they still have Mora's old players. He didn't recruit real well. He got out-recruited by almost everyone in California. That's where they always struggled. And so I mean, they lost to Cincinnati, which I don't think is that good either. They lost their quarterback. It's just, I don't know. I'm pretty confident. Like, I've actually kind of jinxed you every time I put them as my background on my phone. And I really want to do it this week because then we kill two birds with one stone with the Strike the Stadium and my phone jinx. So I kind of want to do it, but then again, I'm so nervous to do it. Do not. We already got enough going with Strike the Stadium.
With the Strike the
Are you
Stadium.
going to actually follow that rule? Or are you going to actually just go and wear?
I found out that our section is always red, so I'm good because I would have been the red dot in the center.
I think we should just protest that Strike the Stadium. Just everyone just wear red. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I'm like what Rob said. Do a whiteout or a blackout or a. It's always a red out. I'd be good with, do a white out.
I'm saying that, too. I'm wearing a Strike the Stadium shirt,
you're wearing
too.
Stripe the Stadium shirt. Well, actually, that's how the stadium is set up.
Yeah, but it's not striking, too. But still, it's, I still kind of want to do it because I know I'm pretty confident that OU should win this game handily after what we saw last week from them. I was talking before we got on. I think the 4 teams made the playoffs last year were the most impressive teams this league. And you can throw Ohio State in there, too, probably. And it's just, I think we show we're in a different class from everyone else right now.
Yeah. I mean, Rob, what are you looking at? Any thoughts from yesterday to today?
Not really.
No, you're...
You looking for that video?
Rob's looking for a video, and a football video, we hope.
No, it's the Gallimore.
But found it. Okay. Yep. Who posted this? Jack at.
Yeah. The Gallimore hit.
Yeah, I can't read it.
Yeah.
So Rob, stay on point.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, guys.
What's your any changes? Go ahead and say it because we already had a little argument brewing before the podcast that
So you're talking about the UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA. What's your thoughts?
So my thoughts are UCLA, and I've said this already, UCLA is going to match up better with us athlete-wise, and therefore I think it will be just a little bit closer game than this last week was because FAU just couldn't. I mean, they just couldn't hang with us.
But they got beat by Cincinnati.
They did get beat by Cincinnati.
At home.
And really, I thought Cincinnati was trash, but I've seen some highlights. I don't know how bad Cincinnati is.
They were 4-8 last year.
So
it's like Texas losing Maryland.
They were bad.
Kind of. They're on a good team. They're coached by Tuberville. They got blocked. Sorry, we're watching the game.
I'm just saying that I think that UCLA, even though they're not a great team, because I mean obviously they lost to Cincinnati.
Yeah. And
Cincinnati's I think mediocre at best.
Yeah.
They still have more athletes on the field, which I think will equal to a better game for a bigger test, if you will, for us. As long as we play our game, we're going to blow through them just like we did FAU. But I just think they'll play against us a little bit better.
So you think we got full half starters this week then?
I think by the third quarter, we probably will be pulling them. I think that we probably won't win as big, but it'll be just as comfortable. Like we will have our way with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Were you guys shocked that he pulled them that early? Still in the second quarter?
No, I mean that game was over
early.
It was over in the first quarter.
But
they were done. I mean,
but like you said though, they also have that timing stuff down and get down too.
Yeah,
playing. But I mean,
but still, there was, I mean, he said on the press conference Lincoln did today, as you go back, there was a lot of things they were happy with during the game, and now there's a lot of things they were unhappy with, and that's what they're working on today and tomorrow and Wednesday. I just think there wasn't any reason. It was blistering hot. The guys they had done their job. They had shut them out. Mm-hmm. They had ran up. What was it? 42-0 when they pulled him. 35.
Yeah, it was so hot. I mean, you're really risking some major injuries.
Just there's no need. But let's put these other guys out here because you never know when injuries.
They're all going to be fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh. Everybody's going to be fresh. And you know what the temperature is going to be this week?
It's like 80.
83.
It could be raining too.
With overcast.
Storm.
Yeah.
So it's going to be so nice.
Yeah, we got a tropical storm possibility coming in, and
tropical storm.
Yeah, there's a hurricane down, and it's going to be in.
The tail of it's going to hit us.
Wow.
Around game time. So
83 degrees, man. It's going to be like they're going to be okay. So the first game, there was probably a lot of
Yeah.
But this game, 83 degrees, that's football weather for me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know about you, Terry, and I'm pretty sure you're as close to my brother as anything I got. That weather, man, I was fired up to hit somebody.
Yeah.
And I know you were probably too.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not any different than we were. I don't think. I mean, they're just better at it.
Yeah, they're just better at it. A lot better at it, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Hope it doesn't rain. I hope it sticks. Just a good overcast, 80-degree day. But it's looking like it's probably going to get pretty good rain around game time. But that's still 7 days away.
Yeah. Well,
5 days away, however many days. But anyway, well, again, we're fixing to get a hold of the guys. Their podcast is called What's Bruin. And we're fixing to get a hold of them, and we're going to visit with them and get their thoughts on their team and their thoughts on Oklahoma. All right, Sooner fans, and all the way from Los Angeles, from the What's Bruin podcast, we got Mike Regalado. Is that correct? Did I get it right?
Boom! Field goal through the upright.
Yeah, there you go. I thought you were fixing to say boomer to us. We were going to give you a Sooner back.
Let's do it, boomer.
Sooner. Hey, all right. So, how's it going in sunny Southern California today?
It's a little awkward, especially after the interesting game that UCLA put up in Chip Kelly's debut with the Bruins.
Yeah.
But it's it's quite interesting because we've been all off season trying to analyze, trying to predict what Chip Kelly is going to do with this program, and they did nothing like we expected. It was weird. The defense, actually, I have to give the defense credit. We've been hearing about how the defense is a lot more aggressive. They're getting after it. Last year with Jim Mora and Tom Bradley, they had a bend but don't break. They pretty much let the play come to them just so they wouldn't give up big plays, even though they gave up big plays anyway.
Right.
The defense this year has been a lot more aggressive, and I think they're going to impress a lot of people. The offense, that's a different story.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you jumped onto that right quick, because that's one of the things we wanted to find out was what was the Bruins fans' reaction when Chip Kelly accepted the job. And it didn't surprise me. He wasn't a success in the NFL, and that's no shot at him.
Yeah, but he was still one of the top coaches in college football.
Yeah, I mean, because there's been a lot of great college coaches go to the NFL and not work out.
Right.
I mean, Nick Saban, Spurrier,
Harbaugh.
He went to Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it was, hey, he's coming to UCLA, had to be some excitement there.
Definitely. It was Bruin fans were first shocked that athletic director Dan Guerrero would actually pull the trigger to let Jim Mora go. They were doubly shocked when they actually hired coach worth his weight in salt. It was like, no, wait, they're actually going after someone, elite, because we've had, obviously Jim Mora didn't work out, and then there was Rick Neuheisel and Carl Durrell before that. It's just been 20 years of disappointment pretty much in coaching hires, and then UCLA being a basketball school, they're currently not happy with their basketball coach Steve Alford. So overall, the fact that the athletic department went out and got such a big name coach, a proven winner, it was shocking, really. And so it was, there are those sects of Bruin fans that are like, yes, we're gonna be awesome right away, and others that are like, we'll see what happens. Let's wait and see. So it just depends. But there is a ton of excitement.
Yeah.
We got a little bit deflated on Saturday, but I think it's just a process. There's a lot of stuff that Chip Kelly has to do with this program, and he has done already since he took over in late November.
Yeah.
UCLA has lost 47 players to the draft, to graduation, and to players saying, adios, I'm not doing this. So having to refill all of that, and the majority are freshmen and sophomores on this team. So there is a crazy amount of youth. But, yeah, I was expecting a little bit faster pace on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought of Chip Kelly as a great coach, and I think if anybody turns that program around, not that you're heading in the wrong direction, but I think it's Chip Kelly. So I think you just got to give the man he's got to have some time.
I'll say I'm happy with playing all this year too, instead of like in 3 years when we get his own players in there.
Right.
I'm much happier playing all this year and then a couple more years down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he took over as offensive coordinator, not exactly head coach at Oregon, but offensive coordinator. Oregon was actually a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
I put a stat up. I think it was something like Oregon was 19-7 in the previous 2 years before Chip Kelly, did anything with Oregon.
Right.
In these previous 2 years, UCLA has only won 10 games. So, in 2 years. So there's definitely a rebuilding process, and it's actually funny. There are UCLA fans that just want to, they want activity now, and apparently there have been people on Twitter, people leaving the Rose Bowl saying this was the worst hire. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
they should fire him. I was like, guys, it's one game.
Right, right.
And half the team from last year isn't here anymore. But it's just those are UCLA fans.
Oh yeah, it's the same here in Oklahoma. I mean, and one of the things with Chip Kelly too is that. He's really everybody can talk about Mike Leach and even Lincoln Riley and others are the creators of the spread, gun it out, throw it all over the field offense. Chip Kelly was the creator of the RPO.
Yes, he was.
The true RPO. And I remember watching a special where back when up at Oregon, and it was like every play that they had 5 different options, and it was the quarterback's read on every one of them. Mm-hmm. There was a handoff, a quarterback run, a receiver, a reverse. It was all these different options that he allowed the quarterback to read what was going on, and did a hell of a job at it.
It worked to a T at Oregon for a long time.
Oregon fans, I'm sure, are hating the fact that he's,
I'm sure they are
down there. But, I'm with Rob and Caleb here. You guys have got a coach that's going to turn that thing. It's going to put it into a completely different level than probably what y'all have seen in quite a while.
Yeah, it's just going back to what you guys asked about how UCLA fans reacted when he was hired. I mean, it was just such a shock that a top-tier coach was here, especially for the football program, which, historically, over the last 100 years, they've been all right, but in the last 20, they've just been meh.
Yeah.
And, obviously, even one national championship, one Heisman, there's a lot of pride in that, and especially when you have someone like USC across town, 11 miles away, just getting recruits every year, just, getting to the Rose Bowl, winning Pac-12 division, the South division, and then the championships. They haven't actually replicated the Pete Carroll years, but they're still up there. I mean, you just flash, those 3 letters, USC, and people will look in your direction. It's a little bit different for UCLA, which is bizarre because they're in the same city. They have a lot of the same resources. The recruiting pool in Southern California alone is big enough for both of them. But obviously, recruits can only go to one school over the other.
Right.
But it's just been a shock for Bruin fans to realize, holy crap, we have a top tier coach. This is awesome. What do we do?
Yeah. So, fans' expectations from Saturday, the loss, 26-17 to Cincinnati. You kind of touched on, a lot of fans. You being a fan, what was your reaction?
I've been to spring. I was at spring practice, and there was a couple practices I was recording time between each snap, and it was about 20 seconds. Another UCLA beat writer for the LA Daily News, Tiffany Nguyen, she during fall camp, she clocked them at 15 seconds between each snap. So that's kind of, that's Oregon-esque. That's what we were expecting. And then you get to the Rose Bowl against Cincinnati, and they're taking their time. The quarterbacks were looking to the sideline for instruction, what plays next. And I went back after I saw the game originally, and saw that the Bruins were taking between 25 and 30 seconds between each snap, and it was just weird because you're expecting one thing and then you're basically getting another,
right.
And they didn't do anything with that, and it was weird because there were so many misconnections that could have gone for several yards. And I think if they did pick up the pace a little bit, that might have given them a slight more advantage. But, who knows exactly what Chip Kelly was doing with this, because, maybe it's the fact that he has a lot of young players. There were so many true freshmen that played in that game on Saturday. Maybe he was accounting for that, accounting for inexperience and guys not being able to read plays or get the calls in time. But the fact that they played at a much slower pace than what was expected was just slightly disappointing. It was like,
right.
You're expecting...
you're expecting what you've seen.
Like Christmas.
Right.
like Christmas, you're expecting a bike and you get a coat. It's like, well, okay.
No, okay. I was fixing to say, I thought you were going to say, expecting a motorcycle and get a bike, but between a bike and a coat,
too,
between a bike and a coat, that's a whole different disappointment, man.
See, you get it.
Yeah. So, I can understand that. Now, your starting quarterback, is it Spaeth? Is that how do you pronounce his name? Sorry.
Wilson Spate, yeah.
Spate. What's his status? Is he going to be here in Norman? What's going on?
Chip Kelly doesn't give a lot of information, which I'm sure is infuriating for opponents, but it's just as infuriating for people that are trying to cover UCLA.
Yeah.
So what I've heard is that it was a back injury, which is slightly scary because he was knocked out of a Michigan game last year with a serious back injury, and surprisingly he bounced back from it pretty quickly. But to have another back injury is a little, a little scary. Cross your fingers that it's not anything that's going to keep him out permanently. He's still a young guy, but apparently he's day to day, which he might show up again. Apparently he wasn't in practice this morning. Just looking at the other quarterbacks doing drills, but who knows? Maybe in a couple of days he'll be okay and he'll be able to start against Oklahoma. So.
Yeah. So if he doesn't, you've got the quarterback that played Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Dual threat quarterback, correct?
Yeah, he's him and Devin Monster, the incumbent, the guy that backed up Josh Rosen last year. Those two are still in the mix, and Devin Monster is a lot more. I always thought that if they were going to pick a veteran guy, it would have been Monster, just because he has the experience and he has the chemistry with the players. Plus, he also is has dual threat capabilities. But there was a reason Chip Kelly brought in Wilton Spate. What that reason is, I'm still searching for. But but yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he actually didn't do too bad. He had a few freshman mistakes against Cincinnati, but that was kind of to be expected, especially when you're thrown in there like that. Chip Kelly said that he wanted him in the game sometime during, the contest, but he was thrown in, quicker than anticipated. So he kind of had to, hit the ground running. So if Spate can't go, maybe we'll see a faster pace with Dorian Thompson-Robinson or Monster, starting for the Bruins.
Right.
They can run a little bit more. I'm just wondering exactly what pace that they're going to play, because I think if they play at the pace they did against Cincinnati, Oklahoma's just going to destroy them. But if they play a little bit faster, they might have a little bit of an advantage. Just getting to the line, just trying to fool the defense. But if the true freshman is in there, who knows if he has any issues reading the defense. What he's going to do with the RPO or zone read or whatever Chip Kelly's planning.
Well, typically for us in the past, we've had a harder time covering a dual threat quarterback than we have somebody that just sits in the pocket. But we've also had our challenges with a pocket passer, so
right.
I don't know which one I would prefer being there, to be honest with you.
Well, and it kind of sounds like we're going to be starting the game kind of like what we did with FAU real early in the first drive that they had some success because Lane Kiffin didn't announce the starting quarterback until basically game time. So Oklahoma had nothing to go off of. They didn't know what was going to show up. It may be the same thing this week.
It may absolutely be the exact same.
Yeah, it took Mike a little bit to figure out what they were doing and, or what he thought they were going to be doing and adjusted to it. But
Well, let me ask you this, Mike. As compared to Florida Atlantic, it's been said by me that I feel like UCLA is a much more athletic team. How do you feel about that statement?
Compared to Oklahoma?
No, Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, UCLA.
Florida Atlantic. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part. Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, that's another thing. Even though that UCLA had a mass exodus of players, there's still a lot of really good players on this team. And me and a lot of UCLA writers and podcasters have been defending UCLA, saying that the cupboard is not bare. A lot of these Chip Kelly with anything. Not exactly true. There's some really good players on UCLA's team, mostly on defense. The offense, those are just a bunch of young guys.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that they have a more athletic, more talented roster than FAU. So hopefully UCLA can keep it a little bit closer than Lane Kiffin's guys. But who knows with this offense?
I do expect all the young players on the first road game with the 80,000 people just yelling with the timing and everything.
I think they'll be a little bit more comfortable simply because they have one game under their belt. But going into not just a road game, but a road game, with a team that's one of the best historically, is just that's just there'll probably be a few minutes of awe. It's like, oh my God, we're here.
Yeah.
This is Oklahoma. We're in the sea of red.
Yeah.
But and there might be jitters, but I think once they get used to it, once they get into it, they should be fine. But this is actually funny. I heard on a sports radio here in LA. I forget who it was, but someone said, you got to also take into consideration that all these freshmen are used to playing on Friday night. This is going to be a what is it, noon game for you guys?
Yeah.
So, they have the sun in their eyes. They're like, it's going to be hot, probably. I want to ask you about that as well. It's in a little while because apparently there's going to be rain, storm, possible hurricane.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
The weather, the sun, middle of the day, that's something that the freshmen are going to have to get used to real quick.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that this past weekend, it was miserably hot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It got into the, mid 90s rather quickly, no wind. So sitting in there in the stadium was just, had it been a better game, it probably would have, more fans would have stayed. But there were fans that were ready to get out of that place as soon as they could because it was just that hot. I think Rob said they went through 70,000 bottles of water in the first half of the game.
Oh my! Wow.
Yeah, and it was that hot. But everybody was looking forward to this weekend because it's supposed to be 80 degrees. And I was like, next week's game's going to be better. Well, then today there's this hurricane coming in, and it looks like I think they're saying about a 70-80% chance of rain at noon. It's about the time that tropical storm will come rolling through Oklahoma. So, that's Oklahoma though. We don't ever we get tornadoes, rain. Now we get earthquakes somehow.
As long as it doesn't lightning, we're gonna be okay.
Ice storms. Yeah, so we never know what to expect. I mean, in Oklahoma, it could be November and it's end of November and it's supposed to be 30 degrees and it can be 80. We just learn to live with it. So, but what are your thoughts about Oklahoma coming into this? Into this game.
I was. When you cover a certain team, you're asked about what the expectations are, and a lot of people have asked what I thought about UCLA through the season, and stupidly I picked them to go 7-6. That's going to change. 7-5, sorry. But Oklahoma's one of the games that I'm like, no, that Oklahoma's way too powerful. I mean, they're coming off of a playoff, appearance, the playoff appearance from last year. They might, they don't have their quarterback anymore. But Kyler Murphy is still such an athletic, individual. There were so many Bruin fans that were rooting for him to say, you know what, I'm going to go to the MLB right now. Like, no, go, you're fine.
Yeah.
We'll always be there. You'll be fine. Go play baseball. But no, he's an incredible athlete, and that offense is just insane. You're just full of talent, from top to bottom. It was the defense that I was wondering about, but against FAU, man, they played, with some reckless abandon, like they had something to prove.
Right.
And I just looked at that and I'm like, oh, great. It's going to be all over the place. And if UCLA can't run the ball, if they can't be quick, if they can't get around, the edges, if they can't, break off from the corners or, defenders in the middle of the field, it's going to be a long day. So, no, I was really impressed with what Oklahoma did. I knew that they were going to do that. I didn't know that they were going to do exactly that to Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, well, Rob in this room is the only one that had that game picked like that. Had been talking all week about he didn't understand why everybody was worried about it. He didn't see anything. Rob and another guy, a friend of ours that does a podcast, they both had it as a blowout. Everybody had it as a big win cover, but I thought it was going to be a game through 2.5 quarters. I think, Caleb, you were the same way.
I thought we'd pull away in the third, fourth quarter.
Rob was sitting there going, no, it's going to be, what was your pick, 58 or 55 to 17?
Yeah, something like that. But really, it was just because I didn't think they've matched up very well with us athletically. I just thought that our defensive line was just kind of going to blow through their O-line, and then offensively, we're going to open up holes. I mean, I think we got one of the best offensive lines in the country, and a team like Florida Atlantic is just not going to be able to match us horse for horse, like I think that a team from UCLA can.
The only guy that actually looked like he belonged on the field was running back. That running back was really good, but he's the only guy on that team that actually looked like he belonged out there.
Singletary was a little hoss.
He's legit. He's first round running back, I think.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about the early line is 25.5 points. Oklahoma's got 25.
I've also seen people call it at 30 points, so I'm like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I have this weird feeling too that maybe Chip Kelly was just using the Cincinnati game as kind of a throwaway game. He'll sacrifice that just to see exactly what he has, especially with picking Wilton State. Maybe he has something up his sleeve, but he better have a lot of cards up his sleeve if he wants to beat Oklahoma, because it was just not impressive what he put on the field last week. And they played at a slow pace, as I said. And if that's the case, not just Oklahoma, but any competent defense will be able to sniff out what UCLA is doing, unless they do anything, with some trickery, or that really has them dominate the line and running backs can go through. Although I was really impressed with their true freshman, Casimir Allen, who, what did he get? 103 yards rushing for UCLA, and that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So he had actually two really impressive plays. One, he broke off to the left side and got about 20 yards. Another one, he went right up the middle. Found a beautiful hole that was opened up by the line and went 74 yards for a touchdown. He got something like 103 yards, but it's not that great when UCLA collectively got, I think, 144 total rushing yards for the game. So,
right.
So they either have to, utilize him a lot more, or try to figure out exactly, how to move the ball forward, because they didn't really do that against Cincinnati.
Well, and another thing on the Cincinnati game, though, you got to kind of credit their coach there at the end. I watched the second half, or the fourth quarter of that game, really, and that fourth down, on that last drive, he went for it, which that was a gamble, but it was a one score game at that point in time. If he doesn't make that, or even if he punts it, you're in a whole different ball game, or kicks field goal. I can't remember where they were at, but I just know that he went for it on that, and and once that happened, and they were able to continue to, he just laid it on the line there, said if we're going to win it, we're going to win it here. So, but that was a little bit of credit to their, their thoughts. Yeah, because they could have very easily have, given it back, and then that game been a completely different story. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
But so are you getting to make the trip to Norman?
Unfortunately, no. So one of the good things about television is that a lot of the information can come to me quickly. So,
Yeah.
and instead of paying, $12 for a beer, I don't know how much it is out there in Oklahoma, but out here, I mean, they don't sell beer at the Rose Bowl, but
we don't sell beer at the stadium either.
They don't sell beer at our stadium.
Yeah, they don't sell beer at our stadium. So,
okay.
but they do sell, $4 bottles of water.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'd rather have free water from my own refrigerator
Yeah.
and the comfort of my own seat to watch this game.
Yeah.
Especially if there are going to be thunderstorms. So.
Yeah, yeah, we're hoping that it doesn't. We've got a big day planned. I mean, I'm not a fan of the 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock kickoffs, especially home games, because that makes it really hard to to tailgate and enjoy your day. It's that morning. I mean, this past weekend, we had 11 o'clock kickoff. We were at our tailgate at 5:45 in the morning, setting stuff up, and the next thing I know, we got to get in line to go to the game. It's like, wait,
yeah.
I've only had 2 beers, and I'm not ready to go in. So, but actually, Caleb has the question of the day, and we're going to let him answer it in closing and find out what your answer to this is.
All right. So since we're in Oklahoma City's about 30 minutes away, I assume Russell Westbrook's going to be at the game. Where do you think he's going to be rooting for? I mean, I'll be probably UCLA, but you think he might have be torn up a little bit at all?
Yeah, because you got to remember, he's been at Oklahoma games on the sideline wearing the old Bosworth jersey. So who do you think? Who's Westbrook going to root for? Is he going to be wearing a Bruins jersey or a Sooners jersey?
Can you repeat that? They cut out just a little bit. Who going to root for?
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook.
Sorry.
Oh. God, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Because like I said, he's been to Oklahoma games sporting number 44, which is a Buki Riley Hines jersey now, but it was Brian Bosworth's. But now
That's
he's got
a really good question.
Yeah, so
because he actually just donated a lot of money to the UCLA basketball. Their new facility and their court. It's called the Russell Westbrook Court. So there's a lot of love. He still has a lot of love for UCLA, but he's showing up to Oklahoma games. If he wears red, he's gonna hear it.
We're also sponsored by Jordan too, and that's his sponsorship too.
We're now Jordan brand, so he may be contractually obligated to wear a Sooner jersey to the game.
Maybe how about those half and half jerseys? Maybe
Interesting.
Because back the Dream Team couldn't wear Reebok because of their Nike stuff, or they had to cover up. Remember back in the day, I don't know how they had to cover up with the American flag because they contractually could not wear it. So I don't know what Russell's contract is with Jordan, but he may not be able to wear anything but a Sooner jersey.
You guys are Adidas, right? Adidas sponsor?
No, rest in peace to Adidas. That's my brand. I love Adidas, but no, last year was their first year with Under Armour.
Okay, Under Armour. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So Under Armour has done a really good job with the marketing, the uniforms. I mean, not just with UCLA football, but across the board, they've been pretty impressive. So so far, I like it.
Yeah.
I just don't like the fact that you have to pay $120 for a hoodie.
No. hey, just wait. If you were Jordan brand, that's
So everything's like that.
Yeah, everything's like that. I think the Jordan shoes, the fan shoes, are like 100, and
they're very proud of them.
Yeah, they're 100. Aren't they 160, exactly. Robert? Isn't that what you said they were? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we were actually down. A friend of ours, a Sooner fan, was in this weekend. Lives in Arizona. He comes in a couple times a year, and we went down to the shops, and I was walking through there at the Jordan brand, and it's great stuff. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but it's like, holy, I thought the Nike stuff was expensive. The Jordan brand
still
is
Nike. It's just they have the Jumpman logo on there.
But
yeah, I mean, we have to put that on poll though for maybe both of us. Just put the poll out there, see what Russ is going to do.
That's what we need to do. We need to run a poll, adjacent to each other, that says, is Russell Westbrook, and tag him in it. What's he going to wear to Saturday's game? What do you think about that?
All of a sudden, you're going to get a bunch of pissed off Bruins fans.
Yeah.
I hate the basketball team enough as it is.
All right. Well, hey, Mike, we surely appreciate you taking the time out this evening to join us. And we're not going to say best of luck on Saturday because we don't want, any luck at all for you. You're already, honestly, you're already getting enough luck because Oklahoma is striping their stadium this weekend.
And we're 2-2 when we do that.
No, we're 3-3.
We're 3-3 when we do that.
And we've lost the last 2 games we've striped the stadium at. And
what is that? Is that a
red and white?
Red,
One
white.
section wears red, another section wears white.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
See, that's when you have that's when you come from a fan base, from a program that has cool culture like that.
Yeah.
If we tried, there's no way you could get Bruin fans to organize that well for that. I mean, they barely show up for the first 3 games.
Yeah.
School doesn't start until the end of September, so it's like, hey, let's do something special. When you get to the Rose Bowl, it's like, all right, 3 of you did it.
Yeah. well, no, we're not fans. Or at least Caleb and I aren't fans. I'm extremely superstitious, and Caleb's my son, so he's superstitious like I am, and we don't like the strike. I mean, the last 2 games, Iowa State last year beat us, and Ohio State beat us the year before that. And so the last 2 years, Stripe Stadium, Oklahoma's thrown out an egg and gotten thumped.
I'm just saying, for Oklahoma's tradition,
yeah,
for their tradition to be 500 at anything, it's not a good sign.
Yeah,
that's all I mean.
But again, hey, we sure appreciate you joining us, and good luck to the Bruins. We hope we're looking forward to a good game, and
hope y'all kill USC. Honestly,
yeah, we'll be rooting for you when you play USC. So
absolutely.
That's for sure.
Nice. All right.
All right, man.
Sure. That's the only type of red I'll support.
All right. Well, we sure appreciate it, and we'll do it again sometime.
Cool. You guys take care.
All right.
Good luck on
Thanks,
Saturday.
Mike.
Bye.
Okay.
And just a reminder, Sooner fans, you can find the What's Bruin podcast out on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Patreon. Their Twitter handle is What's Bruin Show, and also Mike's Twitter handle is The Big Disco. All right, guys. Pretty good little section there, I think. Mike had some good thoughts, some good insight on them. Caleb, what was your thoughts on what he had to say about the Bruins?
So, I think this year, I've been saying, this year I don't think there's rebuilding right now. He's not have his players in there, so it's not surprising that they might start off a little slower. I think if they're patient, they'll be a really good team, but I didn't know they were starting, though, that many freshmen, sophomores. I mean, personally, for me, it makes me more confident now that they're coming here in the first road game, and it's going to be here, like he said, at noon. They're not used to playing that early in the morning. It's just going to be, I think it just helps us out.
Yeah, but that's another good point. That's 9 o'clock their time, and they're going to get here on Friday at best.
Yeah.
And
their timing will be off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob?
Well, I mean, so it could go downhill for them in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If we come out like we kind of did.
First quarter's big this game.
First quarter's big for them. If we come out and we have our will and our way with them, we'll break their spirit because they lost last week. So right now they're riding on no confidence, and we're riding on, listen, we just destroyed a decent mid-major team. So really, if we come out and we just start smacking them around, which I kind of have a feeling that we're going to, then it could go downhill for them fast, and it could wind up very similar to what happened this last Saturday.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same, but what I really thought, again, I'm still not drinking the defensive Kool-Aid.
Looking at the cup.
I'm looking at the
We're
cup.
looking at the cup. All right.
But he brought up Oklahoma's defense and said that they knew that's been the question mark with Oklahoma, and watching them against FAU, they were aggressive, they were mean, that's
unbiased eyes seeing that.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
unbiased eyes going.
Which is good. That makes us, that makes us feel pretty good.
Yeah, when another fan base sees it and goes, "Wow, their defense stood up. That's what we thought was their weak point." And like Caleb said earlier, what Lane Kiffin said, he praised our defense, said that was their weakest point, last year, and it's obvious they fixed that. So
he said he'll be shocked if there's a team better than us in the country. He's been around a lot of teams. That's one of the best teams he's seen on field.
Yeah,
so,
he kind of has to say that. He better say that because he just got his tail literally.
He still openly trashes Bama all the time on Twitter. So he's not holding at all anything. Like he was actually making jokes yesterday about losing real bad.
Yeah.
Like he had the crying Jordan face and I went to church. It's still fine. We got another week next week. So he's a different kind of cat. So that's kind of why I like him because I think he's straight. He's honest a lot. He isn't really holding BS.
So we fed the lane train a big slice of humble pie.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know what? Chip Kelly's, it's probably a benefit for him to have seen that because, now, that could change his whole, he could have been like, hey, their defense is not that good. They're just mediocre, et cetera, et cetera. And now he's got a whole different avenue. Listen, that's a good team. You're going to have to go in there.
Yeah,
and
we're going to have
really
to throw everything at them.
Right. So that could have been really beneficial to him for him to see us just dismantle FAU like we did. But I think, in the end, we're just gonna overpower a mediocre UCLA team, and I don't mean any disrespect to UCLA.
No, they're rebuilding.
They're rebuilding. They got
and
a lot of young
they
talent.
will be back. I mean, again, like we said, Chip Kelly, he's not your average coach. There's been a lot of great college coaches.
Absolutely.
Bud Wilkinson did not succeed in the NFL.
Right.
I just went back. Neither did Chuck Fairbanks.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of great coaches not succeed in the NFL. More recently, Chip Kelly, Spurrier, Saban. Saban walked away from Miami.
Yeah, I think we all kind of feel like Chip Kelly's probably a really good coach. He just needs time.
He also needs NFL too. He can't do a system because in college you have 90+ scholarship players on your team.
Right.
NFL you can only have 54. You just can't run the offense in the NFL. You just wear people down.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to let Caleb do his predictions because there's no guarantee he'll be back on the podcast for 6 weeks. So, we're only going to let you do one prediction, Caleb. You can't predict the rest of the season.
Prognosticate.
Prognosticate on the UCLA Bruins.
I'm just hoping there won't be much of a letdown at all. I come off pretty much a perfect game last week. I still think that I'm not really worried about it. I think the final score will probably be what's a 50? What 58?
Yeah,
58 to say 21. Maybe even less than that.
No, you can't. You gotta
go firm. I go
firm.
58 to 17. Do that one.
58-17.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Not a bad pick, I don't think. Okay.
Young Padawan.
Well, Caleb, thank you for joining the podcast tonight. Yeah. We appreciate it since your face is on all of our logos. And everybody always asks where you... Even people ask where you...
Who is this? Who's this cat?
Yeah, where you were at. There's a few fans came by the tailgate. And I was like, well, he's at home. They're like, what? What's he doing at home?
Yeah, well... I was obviously the smart one, and they didn't die out there.
Which does remind me an update on Claude. He went home. So far, he has a clean bill of health.
Fantastic.
We're happy for that, Claude. Continue, keep us updated. And when you able to get back down, we visited him in the hospital. And he was like, he's just trying to figure out what's the next game he's going to go to. So, which is, how most of us would be during football season.
You might want to just kick his feet up on this next one. And just,
Claude, stay home this weekend.
You might want to hang out, buddy.
But, we're finishing up this podcast. The next one that we'll drop will be on this one, of course, today. But we're going to drop the next one. We'll be tailgate like a champion. We'll have our normal beer, food, and games, and we have PJ Mills going to be on the podcast this week, former Sooner. So be sure and listen to that. But that's our podcast for today. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb. Boomer. Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Hit the subscribe button right now on whatever app you're listening to download every episode as they come out. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube. Boomer Sooner.